Today's a very exciting day. This is the one we've all been waiting for. And of course I'm talking about the new MJX 10208, their brand new 1/10 scale monster truck. We're going to take a look at that in a moment, but I do have to say MJX have been doing some fantastic stuff. Their Hypergo range is now one of the best selling cheap RC cars you can buy. And one of the reasons to actually buy a Hypergo is because you can now get all of the parts and upgrades here in the UK. And this is a game changer because in the past you would have had to have waited 2 weeks or more for all of the parts to arrive from China. I do really like what MJX have done. They've given people an affordable way into the hobby, and they've also given you a lot for the money. And I hope this being 1/10 scale is just as good as their other trucks. Okay, I've made you wait long enough. Let's take a look at the brand new 10208. And here it is. Doesn't it look fantastic? We've all waited so long to actually take a closer look at one of these trucks, and if this thing turns out to be as good as it looks, it's going to be hard to beat. So taking a closer look at the outside, look at the fantastic body on this. I think it looks really cool. Now you can get this in black, you can also get it in white. This is really cool. This is going to allow a nice stream of air to get in under the body. Just like their smaller vehicles, we have a big LED light bar at the front. Of course we've got roof skids, and we've also got some body protection on the rear. There we have our rear bumper. Now you do get a wheelie bar in the box, which I will be fitting later. Now you may have noticed no body clips. No, that's because it has a clipless system. Let's see how easy it is to remove. Can I do it one-handed? Yes. So taking a closer look under the body, now I do have to say this just looks like a much bigger version of the other cars. I have noticed a couple of really cool features on this already, but let's start with the shocks. So let's run through some of the chassis features. Now we're going to start with the shocks. These are oil-filled and adjustable. Very nice. And I'll quickly show you the rear. Now there is so much to look at here, but the one thing that really catches my eye is the size of the CVDs on this. And these are some of the biggest and chunkiest CVD drive shafts I've ever seen. And you don't even see that on some of the premium brands. We also have metal CVDs on the rear. This also has a sway bar front and rear as well. Now you can set this thing up the way you like because it also has adjustable turnbuckles. In the middle there we have a really thick and chunky center drive shaft. A very decent sized battery tray which will easily house a 5000 mAh battery. Of course this thing has ball bearings throughout. It also has metal diffs. It has a metal center diff as well. Up on top here we have a giant center brace. Now taking a closer look underneath, just look at how chunky these arms are. They even have some extra protection, and I am noticing already that this thing is very well built. Here we have a couple of metal skid plates. Right, let's talk about the tyres on this because I'm not entirely keen on them. They are a very soft compound. I don't know, I think I would have gone for a different choice. Again, they're trying to make this thing look exactly like the smaller trucks, which is why they've gone for this design. The design doesn't bother me, but the tyre compound, it is extremely soft. I don't know, we'll see how that performs. So next up, let's talk about the electronics. Now this thing has a giant 3970 brushless motor. Of course it has a heat sink with a couple of fans to keep it nice and cool. This has a 100 amp ESC, which is 3S to 4S ready. And on 4S, this thing is going to be an absolute weapon. Finally, we have a 35 kilogram steering servo. Some may say that's overkill. I don't really care about that. I'll take a 35 kilogram steering servo. Now if you do buy one of these, you will need to provide your own battery. You can use a 3S or a 4S. If you're a beginner starting out, I would say go for 3S, get used to the truck before you move up to 4S. Just bear in mind you will need to get a battery with an XD60 connector, or you can chop that off and solder on your own connectors, whichever you prefer. So that's pretty much it. We're going to give this a run in a moment, but first let's take a look at what else you get in the box. So here we have the usual black and white manual. So here we have the 3-channel transmitter. Now they've switched back to the small version. I actually preferred the version that you got with the 1/8 scale crawler. I find this is just a little bit too small and it doesn't feel comfortable for me, but I do have big hands. Now we do get a foam grip on the wheel, the on and off button doubles as a speed switch, and at the moment it's in the off position, but you can select 70% throttle or 100%. On the side there we have our steering trim and throttle trim adjustments, and channel 3 should control the LED lights. Also in the box we have some basic accessories, and of course here we have the wheelie bar that we do need to fit to the truck. That looks very simple, just a few screws. Now of course we're going to see how the 10208 performs on 3S and 4S, but first I want to show you a very quick comparison. Here we have the Rlaarlo Omni-Terminator, and everyone thought this was going to be a proper 1/10 scale monster truck. It's actually a mini 1/10 scale, and as you can see it's quite a bit smaller than the new MJX. And I actually reached out to the Rlaarlo boss and said, you need to release a proper 1/10 scale truck to compete with this new MJX. And his reply was, this is just a toy, this isn't a proper RC car, and we're not worried. I don't know, if I was you, I think I would be a little bit worried. Now of course the Omni-Terminator does offer very good quality straight out the box, but if you had to pick one of these, which one would you pick? And depending on how it performs today, I think most people will be picking the MJX. But Rlaarlo aren't worried, this isn't a real RC car. Now I know some people will ask, is the MJX an actual 1/10 scale truck? Well, here's a very quick comparison against the MT10. And as you can see, it's very close in size when it comes to the team associated rival MT10. I'll also show you the truck against the Armour Gorgon and the Armour Granite. And when you've got all of these trucks lined up, I think you can quite clearly see the Omni-Terminator is incredibly small. Now I am in the process of upgrading this Rlaarlo, which is why there's no stickers on it. I am in the process of fitting all of the metal upgrades, so stay tuned for that video. So I've got a 3S pack loaded up. Let's take a look at the LED lights. There we have the light bar. We also have some red LEDs on the rear bumper. Now I do have a couple of concerns already. I just feel like the arms should be a little bit longer. Everything just feels a little bit too compact. Also, I'm not sure about the body mounting system. It doesn't look like there's a way to lock it. I just feel like it would be better if there was some kind of lock here, so you could lock this mechanism into place to prevent the body from flying off. Maybe we could see that on the version 2 MJX, because no doubt there's going to be a version 2. Right, so let's do it. Let's see how fast it goes on 3S. Let's start the GPS. This is one of the things a lot of people have been waiting for. That's full throttle. Actually, it's nice and stable. I didn't think it was going to be that stable. That's full throttle. That surprised me actually. I wasn't expecting it to be as stable as this, but we'll see what it's like on 4S. Full throttle again. Now the Omni-Terminator, the carbon brush, this one did 25 miles per hour out the box on 2S, and I think it did around 38 on 3S. Not bad speeds. Let's see what we can get on 3S. Let's bring it back and find out. What do we think? Is this going to be more than 30 miles per hour? I think it is. I think it's going to be more. So let's hit stop and read. 34 miles per hour right out the box on 3S. So 34 out the box on 3S, stock gearing. That's a very respectable speed. Right, so let's do the 4S test. Let's start the GPS. Now 4S is really going to wake this beast up. That's full throttle. That is quick. And it's still stable. This has really surprised me actually. Full throttle. That's full throttle again. Oh, I'm starting to worry for a lot of brands now. Team Associated, Rlaarlo, all of those popular brands out there. I would be incredibly worried, because what we have here might be the new best budget basher that you can buy in the entire world. It's certainly looking that way. Full throttle again. Right, let's bring it back. Let's see how it's done. Are we going to see 50 plus, which if we do, is an incredible speed. I actually think we're going to see mid 40s. So let's hit stop and read. 47 miles per hour out the box, stock gearing on 4S. This thing is an animal on 4S. It really is. Oh, Rlaarlo, I would definitely be worried. I would definitely be worried. You say this is just a toy. That might be the case, but it's definitely a fun toy for the money. Oh yeah. Now before we take this thing off-road and see how it performs, I want to see if I can connect to the ESC using the app. Now as you can see, I am on the app now. There we have the ESC listed. Gonna hit go. Now this didn't work for me with the 1/8 scale crawler. It kept disconnecting, but it seems to be working okay on this. There we have our ESC voltage and our ESC temperature, which is sitting at around 41 Celsius at the moment. Still seems to be connected so far. It didn't go this well last time. Let's have a look at the settings. Now we've got different running modes that we can select. We can select our drag brake settings, cut off voltage, a throttle punch. That's on level 7 at the moment. Let's put that up to level 8. So yeah, there are some decent settings in here that you can change. So let's give this a very quick off-road test. Now I can imagine there's loads of people out there who are wishing I would take this thing to a skate park and see how it holds up, but that's not what I do on my channel. We've been over it loads of times before, but there will definitely be channels out there who will take these to a skate park to see how far they can actually push it. I like to come to places like this. It's a bit more chilled out. This is kind of like real world testing to me. Most people I know would be running at a place like this. Not very many people run at skate parks. It's kind of become the norm because some channels do it. But everyone I've spoken to in the hobby shop owners, they all say the same thing. People are so obsessed with the skate park stuff, it's a joke. I never used to run at skate parks when I was a kid. But yeah, I have nothing against the channels that do it. It's their channel, they can do whatever they want. But yeah, anyway, we won't get into that too much. Right, so how does this perform? Well, power feels nice. And again, it does surprise me how stable it is, because I do wish the arms on this, the suspension arms on this, were a little bit longer. I think if it did have wider arms, it would be even more stable. So maybe we'll see that in the next version. This truck is super cool. That's full throttle. Oh, it's a beast. There are so many companies out there who are in trouble now that this thing has been released. And so far it's turning out to be a lot of fun. Well, that body seems to be holding up. It hasn't come off yet, although I think if I was at a skate park or I was bashing this thing really hard, I think it would have come off by now. Yeah, this is definitely a truck we've all been waiting for. A really solid 1/10 scale budget basher that can run 3S and 4S straight out the box. And it loves it. Now there is one more thing I've noticed. There's not a huge amount of ground clearance. I think that's definitely something else they need to work on. And for a monster truck, I would expect it to be just a little bit higher. That's just my opinion though. I don't expect everyone to agree. Oh, backflip. Let's go for it again. Oh! What a beast. Oh, almost a double. Almost a double backflip. Oh no. Oh, the body's off again. The body's off. Oh, I think we're going to leave it there. I think we've established that this thing is an absolute weapon. Although I do think they need to have a look at the body mounting system, because it does keep popping off at the front. I think they need to work on that. But considering this is the first time they've actually produced a 1/10 scale truck, I think they've done incredibly well. Are you sure this isn't a real RC car, Rlaarlo? Are you sure? You know, if I had to pick between this or a rival MT10, I think I'd actually be very tempted to go for one of these now, especially when you look at how much the MT10 actually costs at the moment. I think this may actually be the better option. And of course, it's also 4S ready out the box, whereas the MT10 isn't. Let me know in the comments section what you make of the new 10208. What an incredible truck for the money. This is going to be selling for around £220 here in the UK, which is an absolute steal. Cheers for watching. See you on the next one. Take care. What an incredible effort from the guys at MJX. This truck was fantastic. If you want to see more from them, click one of these videos now.